Now, I have more than 600,000 followers on Instagram, but I was dead broke. So broke that I was 2 weeks away from being evicted from my flat and almost becoming homeless. And the truth is, if I would have opened up a community back then, let's say for $37 a month, I had around 640,000 followers. Let's say that my marketing would be absolutely fucking horrible and I would only be able to convert 0.5% of people. That's 3,200 people times $37 a month. That's $118,400 a month in revenue, not considering upsells. If I would have just sold a course or a community. But I didn't do it. And that's because I made this video. Because I made the biggest mistake that most entrepreneurs make when they get into creating content or building a personal brand. And that's that they listen to influencers when they actually try to build a business and are not trying to become an influencer. And I just want to save you that mistake. All the years of trial and error that I made with this one singular video. You see, I actually have the luck to be one of a few dozen people who work with or talk to Iman Gadzhi and his C-suite executive team every once in a while. Actually, once a week. And we have calls with them and they explain everything to us and they answer all our questions. And one thing that Iman actually said is that the average personal brand actually only sustains itself for 2 to 3 years. And after that, that personal brand dies. And most people sell their reputation right with their personal brand. And I want to explain to you why and how crucial this actually is. You see, if we actually look at most of the creators from back then, from 2 to 3 years ago, they don't exist today anymore. Sure, there are people like Andrew Tate or Iman, and these guys have a huge audience and they've made so much money with it, hundreds of millions of dollars, if not soon billions of dollars. But for these two people, there's an entire graveyard of creators who sold their reputation, ruined their personal brand, and ended up 2 to 3 years later completely fucking broke, needing to launch ads or something like that. Ugh. But if we look at people like Iman, or people like Andrew Tate, or people like Alex Hormozi, or people like Brett Scales, or people like Daniel Dalen or Luke Belmar, all these people have one thing in common. If we look at Iman teaches people how to build an info business to make 8 figures, $10 million. But he made $100 million, and soon he's gonna make $1 billion through his personal brand. Alex Hormozi has a portfolio of literally hundreds of millions of dollars worth of companies. Daniel Dalen builds multi-million dollar, like multiple 8-figure businesses in China, in software and in e-commerce, and all these different ways of building a company. And now he's teaching people how to promote one business through one personal brand with a couple thousand followers after he gains hundreds of thousands of followers. So the question is, what do all these people have in common? The thing that they have in common is that they are a 10 of 10 at what they do, and you may not be. And all the other people, I'm talking about the entire graveyard of content creators who were forgotten, are not a 10 of 10. You see, if we actually look at the space right now, as you and me know, and basically every single other person of this world, most courses are scams, and that's just the truth. But not all of them. But most people sell hot air, and they don't do that out of bad intention. I don't believe that there's so many creators out there who are bad people or who just want to scam people at all. Not at all. I think they're good people and they really want to help people. They genuinely want to build a business on a good foundation, helping people. But most people are just not able to. They don't know how to do it because they think, I reached 10K a month. Now I can teach other people how to make 10K a month. I reached 100K a month. Now I can teach other people how to make 100K a month. But that's not true. If you reach 10K a month, you're maybe a 4 out of 10 or 5 out of 10 at making 10K a month because you just did it. Steve Jobs once said that you can only connect the dots in hindsight. And I believe that to be true. If you actually look at your successes that you've ever had, whether it's in business, whether it's at school, or whether it's at anything, you will look back on those things and realize, oh, this is what I did right and this is what I did wrong. This is what I did when I won and this is what I did when I failed. This is what I did when I got a lot of clients and this is what I did when I didn't get a lot of clients. But at the end of the day, back then when you reached the number, you weren't fully aware of why you achieved the thing that you achieved. Now, here's the thing. Does that mean that you're not supposed to start a personal brand? No. Does that mean that you're supposed to dump your personal brand if you have one right now? Of course not. But here's the thing. Back when I was 18 years of age, I was a kid and I didn't know anything about business. I was maybe making 2 to 3 to 4 to 5K a month. But I had a huge audience of people who saw me traveling and expected me to make tens of thousands of dollars. But I didn't do that. So how am I supposed to teach somebody how to get to 10K a month if I didn't even achieve 10K a month, right? So back when I didn't have any knowledge, which is why I now started my personal brand from scratch, because I spent the last 1.5, 2 years basically just getting value, becoming a 10 of 10 at what I do, which is to scale info businesses and scale personal brands, which I did very successfully. Some of the businesses that I scaled are 7 figures a year or 6 figures a month, and other businesses immediately 2 to 3x after a few months, 1 or 2 months. So now I know what I'm doing, but back then I didn't. So the thing is, if you are promising something right now, you cannot promise anything that you're a 4 out of 10 at. I know that the entire info space is saying, or coaches that coach coaches into coaching coaches will tell you that you can be a 4 out of 10 at at something and then you can teach somebody else how to go from 0 to a 4 out of 10. But that's not true. You need to be a 10 out of 10 or else you will be completely suffocated by the amount of competition that this industry has, because the info niche, it's war. A lot of people think this thing is like, oh, it's just a bunch of kids selling courses. Yeah, it is from the outside, but from the inside, multiple times I've had creators who needed to film like PR videos against other creators because they were being hated on and they were exposing videos, and we needed to fight back. Like literally, we needed to use psychological warfare to fight these people back and the personal brand. It's insane. It sounds insane, but that's just the truth. And the problem is if you're not ready to do that because there's so much lack in your company and so many people who don't get results, at the end of the day, sooner or later, your reputation will be ruined. And what will happen then is that your business will be ruined. You might make 100K a month for a year, and then the year afterwards, your reputation is worse and you'll make 50K. The year afterwards, you'll make nothing. And then you will have made $1.8 million, which sounds great, but then you also have overhead expenses and you have taxes, and then you're fucking done and you have almost nothing left. And you won't be able to live from that money for long. So a lot of people spend years in order to build an info business and build it up just to then sustain it for a year and then crash and burn and ruin their fucking lives. So how do you become like the 10 of 10 people, like Aman, like Andrew, like Daniel Dalen, like Alex Ramosi, all these people? Now, the way to do it is to always be entrepreneur first and influencer second. You must understand that you need to become a 10 of 10. You can become a 10 of 10 by thinking as an entrepreneur. Either you grow to the promises that you make, or you lower your promises to what you can actually deliver. Now, I do understand that you may think that you will attract an audience of broke people, or you will attract no audience at all, or you won't be able to convert people because other people promise more. Now, another thing that I learned from Aman is that promising less makes you more money nowadays. And it sounds insane, but it's the truth. If you actually look at so many creators out there, like coaches and consultants and the course sellers and this and that, all of them make huge promises, 10K a month, 100K a month, in 2 months, in 3 months. I will give you 100% of your money back if you don't make that, and I will add $5,000 to that guarantee and I will pay it back to you. And then you look at the fucking contract and it has 2 pages of eligibility clauses that you need to fulfill in order to actually be eligible for his guarantee, and one of that eligibility clause is literally put in 100% effort. That's too vague, but that's how people sell nowadays after making these huge claims, these huge income claims. What's so funny is nowadays when I scale info businesses, I actually tell people to promise less, way less, because if we promise less, we are more credible and we make more sales. Every single VSL of ours has the same but clause. A but clause is basically something where you say something vulnerable before the but and something true after the but, which is a benefit of a product. For example, I can't make you 100K a month, but I can make you 50K a month. I can't make you $1 million a year, but I can make you $250,000 a year. Now, that works incredibly well because you are basically going against this notion of promising a lot of things and then under-delivering. But now you're basically promising and then you're over-delivering. So what you are supposed to do is hit people with a but clause every single time that you go into marketing or that you launch your personal brand. So what I'm doing is actually telling people, hey, I cannot promise you that you will get to 100K a month, but what I can promise you is that I've had multiple people who got to 100K a month after 3 months. That doesn't mean that you will achieve it. It just means that a lot of people did achieve it who bought the program. That works incredibly well, and you should do the same. Either grow up to the promise that you make or lower your promise to what you can deliver. I want to thank you for your time, and I'm glad that I could help you. Bye-bye.